in this battle, we are facing a user by the name of Drax. And as you can see by my team, this was a battle recorded quite a bit in the past. This was actually a pretty long time ago, although I did have this file ready, and the game is currently down and has been down for quite a while because of Roblox's updated moderation. So, we might have to be going through some old footage until the game gets back up. So anyways, based on this guy's team, because he has a good setup right here. Of course, he's got two Ubers, Groudon and Aegislash. Groudon is really just a common sighting these days. I will also say this is actually the first time I've seen anybody use Heracross in the meta. We do not know what his mega is at this moment because it could be Salamence or Heracross, but we don't know. But anyways, I wanted to leave it Absol. Just in case, I could potentially get a sweep. I mean, Mimikyu will be kind of a shutdown to that, although, I wanted to see how much damage I could do, especially if I go for a knockoff on turn 1, and if he goes into Mimikyu, then I can go for a Sucker Punch, or I can just switch out, but I mean, it could do something. So anyways, here, he did actually leave it Mimikyu, which is a horrible matchup for my Absol, but it's a perfect matchup for my Toxapex, because, I mean, Mimikyu can only really hit me for big damage with his Shadow Claw, and at +2 is not going to be enough to do any significant damage to Toxapex, especially because, I mean, I have Haze and Regenerators, so I can basically completely shut down Toxapex. So anyways, I went for a hard Toxic because I just wanted to put a timer in that Mimikyu, but it did turn out to be great here because he actually switched out into Groudon, probably predicting Haze instead of like an attack, because that would have been just a free switching. But over here it did work out really good because getting any status in Groudon will go a long way. So anyways, I do predict that this guy is going to go for Precipice Blades. He said he actually goes for an Earthquake. I mean, I don't know why you would run it. Maybe it has a benefit over Precipice Blades. I don't know, maybe for double battles, or I don't know, but it is what it is. It did not change the outcome of this turn right here. So anyways, here I decided to switch out again in case he has a fire type attack, so that way I can get a good matchup, and because he's affected by the Toxic, that damage will rack up, and that's going to be really nice. So Toxapex can come in, take the hit, and then regenerate the HP. But it turns out he actually switches into his Salamence instead, which really isn't that bad. Although now I'm kind of thinking, what should I do here? Because I mean, I can't touch that Groudon with Scald because of its what's it called, Desolate Land ability, and I can't go for Toxic either because it's already got Toxic on it. So I could switch out, although at the same time, this Salamence right here could become a threat if it's a Mega too at that. So for those reasons, I decided to just go for a Haze, because you really can't go wrong with that one, especially if he's trying to go for a Dragon Dance. Although he reveals that this is probably not a Mega, because I mean, he probably would have Mega Evolved by now if it was, and he went for Flamethrower, which is kind of surprising because this is generally known to be a physical attacker. Although you can run special, there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think it's going to be as effective, as regular Salamence. So here I consider Volcarona, just in case I could get a sweep going, especially if this is an all special set, because Cure Dance will boost my special defense, so I should be able to become dangerous. Although I can't really touch the Salamence, so I decided to just go for a Scald once again, although he goes into his Groudon, which is unfortunate. So anyways, I go into Skarmory, hoping I can pull off the same trick as last time, and he does fall for it once again, going for an Earthquake. That really was kind of a predictable switch, but I'm not gonna complain because that worked in my favor. So here I decided to just go for a Spikes in case he doesn't have anything for the Skarmory, and it turns out that he probably doesn't, which is crazy. Why are you running Primal Groudon without a Fire type move? I don't know. I would think that it would probably already have a Fire type move when you catch it, but who knows? I'm not gonna complain once again because this actually helps me out. So I'm gonna set up some more Spikes because I'm thinking, if Absol comes in, it could sweep. If Volcarona comes in, it could sweep. So, there's no downside to that. So this dude decides to go for a rest, which is actually unfortunate because that kind of ruins all our progress we made with Toxic, and it completely invalidates that. So, anyways, here, this is the time to go into Absol, because I'm thinking I could start, setting off Swords Dance or going for a knockoff. just to do some damage, because Absol actually hits like a truck. Although he gets his Salamence in and then goes right for the Intimidate, which actually sucks because having our attack lowered will cost us quite a bit. And you know, I mean, I still think about it because I'm thinking, well, I could just go for a Mega Evolution and go for a Swords Dance anyways, because, you know, Absol at +1 will still be really, really strong. So I decided to go for it, especially because this is a special Salamence, so I'm confident that he can't one-shot me. So I decided to go right for the Swords Dance. Our attack has gone up quite a bit, and he reveals that he actually has Fly, which is crazy because I'm of course going to take advantage of that and go for a second Swords Dance. So now we're at +3, and he lands his Fly, which actually does huge damage, taking us to 14 HP. That just shows just how frail Absol is. So anyways, here I go for a knockoff. Of course, that's going to one-shot him, and he doesn't even have an item. But, you know, Absol hits like an absolute truck, so you don't need that, you know, for the KO. Although now he pulls out his Mimikyu. He takes big damage from the spikes, although that is quite unfortunate. Especially because we don't actually have any priority move on this guy right now. So we do go down to the Shadow Sneak. Although, I mean, I figured it was worth staying in there because, I mean, in case he doesn't go for Shadow Sneak, we will get some good damage. So here I go into Sizer, because Sizer does check Mimikyu for the most part. Although now I gotta figure out if I want to go for the Bullet Punch or if I want to go for something else, because, you know, I can go for the Bullet Punch and get a guaranteed check in this Mimikyu, although it is really predictable. So here he goes into his Heracross, which is fine, and I went for the U-turn because I was expecting him to switch out, so, you know, I could get some momentum with that one. And I figured this is probably a great time to bring in Volcarona. Now, Heracross does get rock type attacks like Stone Edge and Rock Blast, although I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a good matchup because he's probably not running Choice Scarf. That's really rare, and I'm willing to take the risk here. So it turns out that this is actually a Mega Heracross, which actually does help me out because that guarantees he's not a Choice Scarf, and he will go down here to the Flamethrower. And I'm glad I didn't try going for no Quiver Dances, because, I mean, it would have been tempting because you would think he would want to switch out here and give me a free turn. Although, I mean, if I did, he probably would have just hit me with the Rock Blast and gotten an instant KO. So, you know, it was good. We were able to take out his Mega Evolution because, you know, Mega Pokemon go a long way in the PvP competitive scene. So that's gone. And now I'm going to see what he has for this Volcarona, because, I mean, Volcarona is going to deal huge damage, especially when the sun is up, because the fire type attacks are going to be boosted significantly. So here he goes into his Cloyster, although with the spikes and the stealth, or with just the spikes, I'm confident that Bug Buzz will do enough to one-shot him, because Cloyster has really, or not poor, it's just not great special defense, and most people who have a Cloyster are going to be investing in its offensive stats like speed and attack. So I decided to just go right for the Bug Buzz. And now he goes into his Mimikyu, which is actually fine because Mimikyu really can't touch Volcarona. I mean, Shadow Claw is his best friend here. Although, you know, I'm confident I won't do too much, especially because this is a bulky Volcarona. So he goes for the Play Rough. Now, unfortunately for him, he gets affected by that Flame Body. And that's why I love running that on Volcarona. I mean, you can run Swarm for more damage when you're trying to sweep, especially when you're at low HP, because then your Savage Spin Out would do crazy damage. Although, I mean, for me, I see Flame Body as a more practical ability that kicks in more often, especially against Pokemon like this Mimikyu here, which will go down eventually to the burn. And it is basically setup fodder here for my Volcarona. So now I'm at +2, which is incredibly dangerous. And he goes for a Shadow Claw. He probably shouldn't have started with that one. Although, you know, we definitely take that in, and he dies to the burn. So now I'd like to see what this guy has for this Volcarona. He lost his priority user, and really that priority user couldn't do too much to Volcarona in the first place. So he goes into Groudon, which is asleep, and it also sets up the sun. So I go for a Flamethrower, and that does really big damage, although unfortunately it's not the KO. So here I go for the Bug Buzz, because I've noticed a lot of the times people will try and switch out expecting you to go for a Flamethrower, so they'll go for a Flame or a Fire type resist. And then if you go for a mix-up, that can actually go a long way. So anyways, here he goes into his Aegislash. And I mean, I would have just gone into that earlier because it has Shadow Sneak. Although I guess he might have not been running it on this setup. So he goes for a King Shield. and that's fine, not a big deal. And I just follow up with a flamethrower to win the game. And that right there is GG. It really is a testament to just how crazy Volcarona can get when your team is not prepared for it.